Hey folks, welcome. It is Thursday night. It is December 21st. Welcome to the 12 days of dub. Hey, what's the 12 days of dub? It just means starting today, for the next 12 days of Christmas, the 12 days of dub, which will actually run through New Year's Day for you. You'll have a new video each day for me. In that, you're going to have several vlogs, a Christmas surprise, and a lot of year-end videos, including this one, which is going to be my 10 wishes, my top 10 wishes for the action figure collecting game for 2024. And I thought it was an appropriate topic. I know a lot of folks like to hear me talk about these things. I kind of approach this stuff a little differently than the normal collector just because of my day job being pretty heavy in business and managing accounts and relationships and understanding a little bit more about logistics and supply chain and all that kind of stuff. I tend to approach some of these discussions slightly different than some people do. I know Rufus has got all of his toys out and he's just parading around on them like Scrooge McDuck. He's probably looking for his spaceman because I think he's a little sleepy. No, he's brought... there's his tail. I don't know what he's doing. He brought his squeaker, the thing that squeaks the most. Of course he did. As we start the 12 days of dub, come here, buddy. Hey, come here. Come here. Rufus, come say hi to the people. You don't want to just squeak that one right now. Look, they're up here. He's right below the camera. He wants me to squeak the squeaker. Apologies. Rufus, what is your wish for the action figures in 2024? That you get an action figure? Is that what your wish is? I don't think we need to play with that squeaker just right now. Just give us like 15 minutes, sweet boy. So, these are the 10 things that I hope happen in the action figure game. And on top of all the toys he picks, literally, it is just a red smiley face with a tongue out that just squeaks. That's it. That's all it does is squeak. On top of that, I'm going to put kind of the action I'm going to try to take to help encourage that behavior from the business level. So these are things I hope the companies do. And I do know that representatives from different companies watch my videos. So I would say this to your face as well. These are things that I hope happen. They're in order. Starting with number 10. My number 10 wish for 2024 for the 12 days of dub, starting with this. Number 10. I would like to see more real accessory set and diorama pieces that come out of the companies themselves, that are licensed accordingly. Now, what I do not want to see is the NECA diorama piece that was like $200 or $300 or whatever it was for a very small thing. I want these to be reasonably priced. A great example is the Cosmic Legions from the Four Horsemen. They put out a accessory set that had like a cargo container and a few other things. That's like $30. That's in pre-order, or was in pre-order at the Ox Crew, and just had world building stuff. I think G.I. Joe Classified is a great place for this to occur. That will have all the different rocket packs and bunker stuff, and that's what G.I. Joe did back in the day. Was they had various little things like that. So like, for instance, Scrap Iron with the drone is a great figure this year. Just sell the drone and the explosion effects. Sell blast effects. Now, what will I do to try to encourage that behavior? Again, not huge items, smaller items that help enhance pictures, enhance your world building, enhance your collection. Oh.
Sunny weather with a high of 60 degrees Fahrenheit and a low of 36 degrees.
Okay. That's what it will be tomorrow. What will I do? And I've said this a lot on the channel, I will take more pictures. I will encourage that behavior. I want to use props, accessories. I don't need 32 hands and 17 head sculpts and 400 rifles that we won't use. I'd rather have a nice bunker piece or a nice sleeping bag cot or things like that is what I mean. Really usable, fun accessory packs. And not weapons packs, and not hands packs, and not head packs. Actual weapons, or actual accessory packs to create your world build. So I'm going to try to take more pictures, tag people accordingly. Does it mean I'm going to stop buying this stuff from artists? Absolutely not. I view that completely different. Just like I buy custom action figures, even though there are regular action figures, I will also buy this type of stuff from custom artists as well. I just think that is a fun item that I'd like to see more of be encouraged, is accessory sets, smaller diorama pieces. If the price that NECA had that huge diorama is the price it has to be, I don't want that. But smaller sets, I think, would be fun. That is my number 10 wish for 2024 action figure companies. We're just going to continue with number 9. There's a lot happening in the general surrounding area. So I don't know what noises you'll hear, but that's fine. Number 9 of my wishes for 2024. It's that teams will be finished quicker. By teams, I mean, obviously, like, I don't really collect Marvel Legends much, but, finishing the Reavers, finishing the X-Men in their original suits or whatever. That's the big thing people think about. But companies do this thing where they spread the teams out over multiple waves and over years. And maybe some of that is because certain teams only appeal to a certain demographic of their buying population, and so they don't want to put them all out at once. But, I remember when I was collecting Marvel Legends Heavy, a lot of the waves would be themed, the whole wave. Like, it would be the Netflix TV show wave, and everything would be from the Netflix TV show. Now things are spread out. Like, think about the Dreadnoks. They've released a couple Dreadnoks for G.I. Joe Classified recently, but it's going to take like 3 years but from when the first Zartan came out to complete the core Dreadnoks team. Why? Why not just have a Dreadnoks wave? Because in these lines, you got a lot of people that are collecting all of it or most of it. So I don't understand why it takes so long to finish teams. I think Super 7 is especially kind of guilty of this, or were guilty of this, and I think it hurt them where, like in their Disney model, they put one character from Robin Hood in Wave 1 and one character from Robin Hood in Wave 2. And why? Why not just put all the Robin Hood together and all the Alice in Wonderland together? And so what's happened with that is over several years, I don't think they have the Disney license anymore. The Disney license has changed, and that team's never going to get finished. So I'd like to see teams get finished quicker, whole waves of teams. Don't artificially create waiting to finish a team. I just think that's not smart. The behavior I can do to encourage this, I guess I can just support it by purchasing at full price when they're doing it right. So like I bought the Dreadnoks at full price. I didn't wait for a sale or a clearance because I want to show them. Give me the team. The one-off characters are the ones that can be sprinkled all around, but complete teams once you start teams. I'd like to see that. Number 8. My wish for 2024 action figures. Release schedules would be more dependable. This has to change. Like, we are entering the 4th year from COVID. That's not an excuse anymore. The supply chain, the logistics, they're all just what they are now. It's all new. So, yes, it may not be the way it was in 2019. That means it's probably never going to be that way again. This is the new supply chain. There isn't a figure coming out in 2024 that was in manufacturing before COVID 4 years ago. I just don't believe it. I don't believe that to be true. So anything that's coming out this year is in the new world. And they should be able to get a better feel for supply chain. When I did my top figures of the year, you'll see these coming up. I don't know that there was a G.I. Joe Classified release in the first 6 months. And yet there's 60 of them on my list. I bought 60 G.I. Joe Classified figures. And it feels like almost all of them have come in the 4th quarter. Just one right after the other, right after the other, right after the other. I don't understand why that is. I think it's really poor. An item goes up for pre-order. McFarlane this happens with. Hasbro it happens with. It'll be revealed on a live stream or whatever. And it goes up for pre-order and it's like coming, mid-2024. And that's just here. It's just in a store suddenly. The next day. Or some online store has it early. Like, I remember Big Bad Toy Store had some of the G.I. Joe Classified up as they were revealing it in a recent G.I. Joe stream, and they had them in stock. I'm sorry about Rufus squeaking that thing. I know that's probably annoying some of you. Buddy, can you play with... You have 190 toys over there. Just any other one is acceptable. He's right by the camera, too. I'm sorry. Poor buddy. Come here. Just come up here and just hang out. Just hang out. Let's just kick it. I just don't like that. Why do I not like that? Because if you're a pre-orderer, and we're going to talk about pre-orders later, how in the heck do you budget for that? So you say, I'll be a pay in full pre-order. Well, you know what? Interest rates are really good right now in savings accounts and things like that. Not on debt, but in savings. What if I want to make money on that instead of letting someone else make money on my money, right? So, like, if you say it's going to come March 2024, I understand it might come February or April. But don't come in August and don't come in December the year before. Like, this has just got to tighten up. And I know retailers, it hurts too, because you get a purchase order call and you owe a bunch of money that you didn't think you were going to owe for 6 months, you know, or whatever the case may be, or you get it really late and everybody already has it and you're in trouble either way. So what's my behavior? To help encourage that release schedules need to be more dependable, I'm going to try my best to buy very little things until they're out, until I see them on a shelf or I see them in stock. I don't want to fall in this trap of pre-ordering stuff and it just comes when it comes and so be it, because that is not good business. That's not good consumerism. It's just what we've been tricked into thinking is the way we should do this. And it is. So that's number 8. Number 7, my number 7 wish. I wish that more companies will sell direct to customer with actual savings as a reason to do that. It's an important caveat. Now, I have friends that are retailers. I appreciate the retailers. Everybody has their role. But the model that the Four Horsemen have, where they sell direct to consumer, and that's the cheapest price you can get it. Why is that the cheapest price? Because no other company has to make margin on it. No other company has to find profit. If Hasbro is selling you a Marvel Legend for $24.99, and they're also selling it to Walmart, and Walmart is selling it to you for $24.99, there's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with that. Hasbro, if they're going to sell it direct to you on Pulse, they should lower the cost. They should. They won't. Because they're making more profit on that figure than the other alternative. I would like to see more companies give you an incentive to buy direct from them. Now, does that eventually hurt retailers? It can. I understand that. I think we have too many retailers. I think it's become too easy to become an action figure retailer and sell it online. And that's why you keep seeing these companies that struggle or that fail or that have to run unbelievable sales. And people's lives are being impacted because they think that they're going to be able to do this and then the market dries up. So I'd like to see more companies sell direct to a customer with savings. If it's $24.99 at Walmart, it should be not $24.99 from Hasbro Direct. Even $1 cheaper. It should be a benefit to buy direct from the customer, direct from the company. How will I encourage that behavior? I'm not going to buy direct from a company if it's the same price as the retailer. I'm not going to buy a G.I. Joe from Hasbro Pulse for the exact same price that I can buy it from fill in the blank. Empire Toy Shop, Horsehead, whoever. Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, whoever is your favorite retailer. I'd rather support the small business than support Hasbro with extra profit. Does that get hard when you're talking about exclusives? Sure. Does it open the door for companies to make everything their own store exclusive? It does. I wouldn't be surprised if that comes one day, but that's not what I wish for. I just wish if they're going to sell direct to customer, you should get a benefit from that. Number 6. And now we're going to get into some stuff that's even more companies will never do, or most companies will never do. But it's a wish. Economies of scale, savings, will be passed on to the customer in some capacity. What is economy of scale? A proportionate savings in costs gained by an increased level in production. What that means is, the more you do a thing, the cheaper the cost per thing comes. Because certain things have fixed costs, whether you make 1 or whether you make 1,000. In the case of action figures, it's the tooling. It's very expensive to create tooling. So they created tooling for a new torso, a new buck, let's say. So you get the new Vulcan body in Marvel Legends. That costs a lot of money. I think you'd be shocked. I mean, I think it's hundreds of thousands, if not $1 million or plus dollars to create a single tooling buck, like however many tools that would come to make that. Maybe even more than that. I think we'd all be shocked. So that's why it gets reused, right? Because it costs so much, and they don't sell 1 million of every figure. So it's just not effective. They've got to reuse it to make money. But eventually, they have reused that buck enough where they've paid for it. And they should be able to pass that savings on to the customer. There are 2 companies I know of that are doing that. First one is Action Force. What happened with Action Force? Bobby Valla, like him or don't like him, certainly he's a polarizing person in the toy community. But recently, this year, he lowered the prices of his action figures. He lowered the prices of them. When everybody else was having an increased price, or most everybody else, he lowered them. And he said, we are selling enough now, an increased level of production, that my tool cost is lower, is offset, is lower. I'm going to pass some of that savings on to you. Rather than just make more money and raise the price and make even more money, I'm going to pass it on to the customer. Now, can a Fortune 500 company that's publicly traded make that choice? It's pretty hard. Stockholders are going to say no, they want more profits. But he's got the spaceman. Now he'll relax a little bit. That's a good boy. We're going to finish, then we'll go play. I promise. That's passing on economies of scale directly to the customer. You've been wondering why Hasbro uses the same buck and how does it get more expensive? Because they're not doing that. Now, certainly when they use new figures, it costs them a lot of money. But when they reuse that Bucky Cat mold, that thing has been paid for so long, they could be passing savings on. They're choosing not to. The other company that's doing it, they're doing it differently than Action Force. Action Force is lowering prices. It's the Four Horsemen. Four Horsemen are not lowering prices, but they're also not raising prices. They've been keeping their prices the same and putting more in the package. So now when you buy a Mythic Legions figure, for instance, often it comes with 6 sets of hands, an incredible soft goods piece, sometimes an alternate head, weapons, and so forth. Older Mythic Legions at the same price came with the same pauldrons that 20 other figures had. No alternate head, no alternate hands, a few weapons. No soft goods. Comes with a lot more. The economies of scale. The more production has gone up, the more popular a line has got, they're able to pass that savings on to you. 2 different models. One is actual savings to the customer, what Action Force did. The other is more value for your dollar. Both are acceptable. How will I encourage this? It's a little harder, but you want to say I won't buy endless reuse of the same piece. I'll just stop. Doggone it, I'm not buying no more Bucky Cat molds. I'm not buying it. Stop it. If you want me to buy a Bucky Cat mold, make it half price. Sell it as a lower cost figure. Is that really going to work? Probably not. Is this a big wish? Yeah. But 2 companies are doing it. And maybe more, but 2 I know of. Move to number 5. The number 5 wish. We're into the top 5 now. This, I feel almost certain, will not come true. Less figures in a line will be made in a year. And I don't mean less figures from the company. Companies have to make money. They make money by selling us stuff. So if Valaverse is not making Action Force figures, they're not making money. So they've got to sell figures. What I mean is in a specific line, like a sub-line. Less, I know Hasbro's not going to make less action figures. But I think they don't have to make 60 G.I. Joe classified action figures every year. More than 1 a week. I don't think they have to. I want to see less. Less Marvel Legends, less Star Wars Black Series, maybe more total figures. Put more time into some of the more niche lines. But I'm mostly probably speaking to NECA with cartoon Ninja Turtles. There doesn't need to be that many, especially now that we're at some of the obscure things. Just make less things, make them better. Even if that means the price point has to be a little higher, but you make them really good. Because I feel like we are just getting too much. And the old adage is, too much of a good thing is worse than not enough. And I think we're there in the action figure world. How can I encourage that? Well, I'm just going to try to buy less, period. I bought 333 action figures at retail this year. You'll see that in my videos coming up. I need to buy less than that this year. If I want to encourage them to make less figures in a line, I have to spend less money. I have to not encourage the behavior. I don't need every G.I. Joe. I certainly don't need 2 of every G.I. Joe. All right, moving to the top 4. My number 4 wish for for 2023 as there's Rufus's hand in, as we do the 12 days of dub. Number 4 wish, lines will know when to end. It's kind of tied to the number 5 wish. And again, understanding the economics that a toy company has to make toys to make money. But it doesn't mean every line has to go forever. Just like a television show that sometimes doesn't know when to end, and it falls in the same problem. It is why I, historically, have much preferred shows that come on like HBO, Showtime, than I have shows, or even on cable, shows that are on CBS. Why? Because CBS is a free, over-the-air network that if we will watch 62 seasons of NCIS, they will make it. Why? Because they need to sell commercials, and they need more things to sell commercials. Whereas HBO is subscription-based, so they get your money anyway, and they want to make highest quality to keep you subscribed. So you're going to get a more concise number of episodes, number of seasons, and they make less things, but they make them better, and they know when to end. That's not always the case, of course, but that's what I'd like to see in the action figure world. Again, specifically, the NECA cartoon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles line, they should announce 2024 will be the final year of this line. You have to tell us what figures are coming, but announce that it's ending. We have gotten to such obscure characters in that line, and I love that line, and they've done some incredible stuff, and they should know we've got these 20 left, and we're done. We're going to end it. Now, does that mean they stop making turtle figures? No. They can make IDW Ninja Turtles figures. They can make Mirage Ninja Turtles figures. They can make the 2003 Ninja Turtles. There's other licenses, other versions of Turtles that they can make and still sell stuff, and a lot of Turtle fans will continue to buy it. But let's end some lines. Movie, they made the movie 3 Turtles. What else can they possibly make in the movies? They can maybe make the other version of April. You know, there's not much, though. So no, let lines end and move to something else. I just think that has to happen sometimes when you're talking about intellectual property that's over. Like the Ninja Turtles cartoon is over. It's from the 80s. It doesn't have anything new. It's harder when you talk about a line like Marvel Legends, right? They're just going to always make Marvel figures. But I would just like to see lines end. How can I encourage that? Well, I don't have a good way to encourage that. I'm a completist in almost everything I collect. That makes this hard. And I just keep buying it. You know, if they put out some releases that nobody bought, the line would end organically. But I don't want it to end because it fails at the end. I want it to end because it's done. It successfully completes. That's what I'd like to see happen. All right, now we go into the top 3. And as we talk about these, let me know in the comments. I may have made this a premiere, so maybe there's chat. What you think? What your wishes are for the action figures 2023. Number 3, that the pre-order model will reduce. I've been collecting a long time, but on YouTube, if I think about some of the earlier hunt videos I was making, I remember specifically trying to find the Thor Ragnarok wave of Marvel Legends. And I don't even remember what that built. I don't remember. Hela was really difficult to find. Man, I do not. I'm actually going to look that up real quick. I do not remember. Thor Ragnarok Legends Bath. Will Google return that result? Oh, Gladiator Hole. Oh, yeah, I sure remember that. And you could not pre-order that. I don't think. At least I was not aware. In fact, you basically could have buy it online. But that's not that long ago. Thor Ragnarok movie is not that long ago. You know, yes, that wave is 6 or 7 years ago, but it's not that long ago. And it was fun to hunt for it. It's why toy hunting videos blew up. Because specifically, Marvel Legends and Funko Pops, Chases, so forth, and Star Wars Black Series, you had to go find them. And that was better in terms of the excitement of it. But I'm a pre-order guy. Like, if I can guarantee I'm going to have it, I would pre-order it. And I would do that so I could have it. The problem comes when we talk about everything else that's been on this list. When you pre-order, and it doesn't come when it says it's going to come. It comes 6 months early or 6 months late. So how do you budget for that? When they're making too many figures and the line is going endless, and next thing you know, you've got 100 items on pre-order. When they don't know when to end the line, and so you don't know how long this is going to go for. when there's no economies of scale savings. All of that makes me say the pre-order model has to reduce, has to change. Hasbro doesn't need to do pre-orders. Mattel doesn't need to do pre-orders. McFarlane doesn't really do them as much. I mean, sure, you can do it through like Big Bad, but they're not doing them direct on their website. I don't think. Maybe they are. I don't buy a lot of that. NECA store, why are they doing pre-orders? Why are we having to pay in full for stuff up front? And that's the other part of this. With the pre-order model, especially paying in full needs to reduce, needs to end. It needs to go away. It just needs to go away. There are two ways to think about it. You got pre-order model A, which is whether it's from Hasbro Pulse, whether it's from Big Bad Toy Store, whoever it's from. You say, I want this. I pre-order. How much is it? $29.99. Great. How much will it be at Walmart? $29.99. Okay. Well, why am I pre-ordering it? Well, I'm pre-ordering it so I can make sure I have it. To make sure I can get it. That used to be valid 3 years ago in COVID time. It's not as valid anymore. There are very few things that you can't find as they release. You may have to move fast, but there are very few things that you can't find as they release. And you're not saving any money. In fact, you're locking yourself into full retail price when it's very possible Target may have a discount on it day one. Have a coupon, or you have a gift card, or whatever. That model I don't like. I'm done with it. I am done pre-ordering a thing that will be easy to find that is at full price. I'm not doing it anymore. The other model is you pre-order and the company is giving you a reason to do it. They are rewarding you for the pre-order because it helps them know how many to make. I don't think Hasbro ever has to do that. But you've got a company like Super 7. They do pre-orders direct with them. With them, you have to pay in full. The other thing we talked about Hasbro Big Bad, you don't have to pay till it's due. Which makes it easy to pre-order. You just click the button, say yes. Super 7, they want your money up front. I am almost done with that, too. They want your money up front. They used to not give you anything. You pay exact same price as if you did when it came out, except they had your money for 2 years. Now they're starting to do these little hands pack, extra heads, a couple weapons, like a little, I don't know, super pack, I think is what they call it. Has that got me to pre-order from them directly? No. I used to pre-order from them directly. I don't anymore. Because now what happens is you pre-order for them directly and you pay $59.99 a figure, and before you even have them from them, they're on sale on Entertainment Earth for $40.99. And you have paid for a $59.99 item that you could right now buy at $40 before you even got it. That stinks as a customer. I won't do that model either. The only model I will do in a pre-order is the model like the Horseman, where you pre-order from them. Yes, you have to pay up front. I don't like that because my money can make a lot better interest for me than it can sitting waiting on toys. But they give you a significant price savings. It is almost half price in some cases when you order an all-in of Legions from the Horseman compared to the retail price if you bought it as it came out from a place like Big Bad Toy Store. It's almost half price. That's a reason to pre-order up front. That's a reason to pay up front. That's what I will do. Where I am waffling is if it's an exclusive. Because sometimes those are hard to get. But I still don't want to do it. I will also pre-order imports that I can get from Ami Ami. That falls into the significant price savings model. When you import it yourself, it's way cheaper than when you buy it from Big Bad Toy Store. Even with shipping, way cheaper. But those pre-orders sell out pretty fast, so you have to move fast. So my behavior is I will only pre-order when there's a significant price savings to do it. Otherwise, I'm not doing it anymore. I am working my pre-orders off of a list. I hope by the end of 2024, I don't even have a note in my Apple Notes that says pre-orders. And I've had that for years. Number two, my number two wish for 2024. I think all of our wishes probably. Crowdfunds will scale back. This year was ridiculous with the crowdfunds. See if I can just remember them all. We had the G.I. Joe helicopter. We had the Cat's Lair from Super 7. We had the Cobra Mothership from Super 7. We had Giant Man from HasLab. There was the Black Series Star Wars ship, whatever that thing was called, from Bad Batch. There is the Ghostbusters trap, I think. There was the Mattel Jurassic Park gates. And probably others. Then, the NECA, I would consider the NECA sewer layer like a pre-order. It's a big, huge item. Then those types of things that arrived this year, the Thunder Tank from Super 7, the Turtle Van for Super 7, the Turtle Van from NECA, the Hiss Tank from Hasbro. There's a Transformer that arrived this year. It's too much. And over a period of a couple years, when these decisions are being made like 6 months apart, you don't realize that it's so much. And then they all arrive like did for me within a 6-day period. And you go, what in the world? What am I supposed to do with all this? It's not like I didn't know they were coming. I paid for them 2 years ago. But it's just not. It's not the way. And I think you're going to burn people out. I think each company should have one. You can have one. The thing like the Cats layer that Super Saiyan did, that is a worthwhile crowdfund. But then they followed it up like a week later with the Cobra Mothership. And of course that didn't fund. People don't have enough money. And it's a lot of the same audience are buying all these things, or several of them. The Hasbro Marvel Legends HasLabs are now just drama filled. Just have one. Don't have one, and then a Black Series, and then a Ghostbusters. Let each brand have one. There's not enough massive things that need to be made 8 or 9 a year. It's just ridiculous. So I just hope they scale well back. And I also mean, they don't need to produce those big things either. I'm fine with the crowdfund model for a thing like the Thunder Tank or the Cats Lair. They're huge. They're never going to be able to make those otherwise. Am I fine with it on a Giant Man? It's a different conversation. But I understand. Just make one a year. That's it. Each company, one a year. How will I scale back? I'm only going to pay for one crowdfund next year. I don't know which one it's going to be. Maybe none, but I'm only going to pay for one. I ain't doing it more than once. All right, here we are. My number one wish. Starting the 12 days of Dub. Lots of year-end content coming. This one, I think most of the others people will probably agree with. Because most of the others are things that are consumer-friendly or neutral. This one, my number one, I think some people will disagree with. But I hope in 2024 that the super clearance days of action figures will end. I hope that in Christmas 2024, if you go in an Ollie's or a Ross or a TJ Maxx or Big Lots or all these dirt cheap or good deals quick or whatever, that you don't find 2,000 action figures at $5. Well, Dub, why not? Don't you want us to pay less? I would like it if things cost less. But remember, if our hobby is being clearanced out at 80% off in all these stores, it means the hobby is struggling. And I don't want the hobby to die. A hobby is healthy when there's a good aftermarket. As much as we all hate that, if there's a good, healthy aftermarket, that means the hobby is healthy. And if people are buying the amount of stuff being produced. What I think happened with all this Ross and Ollie's stuff is COVID occurred. People had extra money. People bought collectibles like they never had before. All the companies said, oh, baby, orders are way up. Let's increase our production so that we can sell. And guess what? People stopped buying it. And so now, all those things for the last 18 months got clearanced and handed to a retailer, and then that retailer handed them to something else. It's not just Hasbro, Mattel, and McFarlane either. We're seeing Hasbro pull stuff at Ollie's. But a company like Super 7, who I know this factually, produced so much in the Ninja Turtles and the G.I. Joe because of how big their orders were in COVID, that they made so much, and then companies like Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth ordered a ton, and then customers canceled their pre-orders or didn't fulfill them, or they didn't sell anymore. And those companies didn't fill their orders with Super 7. And so Super 7 has a bunch of G.I. Joe Ultimates and Ninja Turtles Ultimates. So what do? They sold them to Best Buy. They sold them to Walmart. Do you think they sold those to Best Buy and Walmart 6-9 months after they came out at the same price they originally did? Absolutely not. They had to blow them out. And now they sit at Best Buy. Now they sit at Walmart. And you know what's going to happen to those? They're also going to end up at Ollie's and Ross. Because people are also not going to pay $50 for them at Best Buy. Best Buy already puts them like half price. So even a place like Super 7 ends up in an Ollie's or Ross eventually. That isn't good for our hobby. It's not good. It makes things die. Now you say, I don't like their stuff. They deserve it. They don't deserve it. Like, these are all humans that are doing their best at their job, trying to feed their families and produce toys for us to enjoy. And just because Super 7 Reaction or Hasbro Marvel Legend or McFarlane DC Multiverse or Four Horsemen Mythic Legions or SH Figuarts Naruto, just because that may not be for you doesn't mean it's not for someone and that someone appreciates it. And seeing so many things be clearanced in such a big way, in a way, makes me sad. You're going to see a bonus episode coming up where we go to some Rosses and Ollies. And it's fun content, it's interesting to see, but it's also sad because it's a reflection that our hobby that exploded in COVID is now being clearanced, is now being devalued. And that's sad. So I want to see that end. And how does it end? Well, production, supply and demand have to get closer together. That is there because supply way outweighed demand suddenly. So production has to come down. That's going to mean products are harder to get. That's going to mean, think about Super 7, if you want Wave 11 of Ninja Turtles and you don't pre-order it, I don't think you're going to find that for $9 on Entertainment Earth clearance. Because I don't think they're going to order any extra. Or they're going to order 10 extra, or very low quantity. And so, if you want it, you better buy it. How can I encourage this behavior? If I like the thing, I'm going to continue to buy it at full price. I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to play the long game. If I need to play the long game for something, it's probably not a thing I really want. Does that mean I won't buy a thing on sale or clearance? Of course not. But if it's a line I love, and it's a thing I want to see getting made, I need to support it at full price. If I don't agree with that price, if I think it's too high, I probably shouldn't support that line, period. But encouraging and waiting for clearance, that's deflating things. When prices of stuff get dropped to clearance and people wait and they go, okay, I'm not going to buy this. Forget action figures. Think about milk. We don't like the price of milk here in America. I don't think you do wherever you are. It's gotten too expensive. Frustrates us. Inflation is real. Let's say the price of milk used to be $3 for a gallon of milk. Now it's $5. Well, that stinks. Whatever that is. That's a 67% increase in the price of milk. So it's $5. And I buy it because I need milk. Ugh. Well, what happens if suddenly you start to see Walmart is clearancing milk? And they have a bunch of gallons of milk that aren't expired, that are still perfectly usable, and they're at $3. Well, I'm going to play the long game on milk. And I'm going to wait until it's $3. All right, fine. You know what Walmart does when they have to clearance something? They lower their order for the next time. But what happens if you start to see milk show up at your Ollie's bargain outlet for $1? Ooh, I'm not buying it even on clearance at Walmart for $3. I'm going to wait for $1 at Ollie's. This is called deflation. This is when prices go down and the economy deflates. So now you go, nope, I'm certainly not buying the milk at $5. I'm probably not buying it at $3. I'm going to wait for it to be $1. So you have the risk that it may never get to $1, but let's say that it does. And everybody does that same behavior. Do you know what happens to the production of milk? It disappears. Why? Because a farm can't operate selling milk for $1. Walmart can't operate selling milk for $3. So what happens to Walmart? They fire employees. They have layoffs. What happens to the milk farm? They fire employees. They have layoffs. Or potentially, milk goes out of business because it no longer can be sold at a wage that makes the company make sense. Deflation isn't good for the economy. Seeing your hobby clearanced isn't good. Sure, for each of us that maybe were able to grab a figure, I grabbed all the Super 7 Silverhawks for under $15 from Entertainment Earth. Am I happy about that price? Yeah. Does it make me encouraged for the future of a company that I like a lot of their products? No. It makes me worried. And do I believe that they should suffer the sins because they don't have enough articulation? Of course not. So my biggest wish for 2024 is that the market is healthy in the collecting community. That probably means there's a lot less people in it. That probably means there's a lot less figures being made, but that it's healthy. That the supply and the demand are close to each other. And those of us that have always been collecting and want to keep collecting will, and that those of you who are new in collecting and would like to keep collecting will, and those who just got into collecting for a little while because it was trendy and maybe they're not into it anymore, they don't have to anymore, and that it can continue in a very healthy way and not die on sale clearance at Ollie's Bargain Outlet. That's my hope and my number one wish for 2024. Let me know your wishes. And look forward to 12 days of dub. This is day number 1. We will get into some top 10 lists tomorrow. Then we've got some vlogs. We got a Christmas special. Back to some top 10 lists. Back to some vlogs. And then we'll wrap it up on New Year's Day with my favorite figures of the year. Also, look out for new things in the channel as we go into January. Let me know what you think. I will talk to you tomorrow. Squeeze.